Hello and welcome to another episode of CCS News and Put Your Money Where Your Mouth Is. I'm Sharon Resources. Well, let's face it, times are tough. What with budget cutbacks and growing inflation, many companies feel like they're getting nothing but lemons from their investments. Today, Put Your Money Where Your Mouth Is has some recipes on how to take those lemons and turn them into lemonade. Now, to dive deeper into active solutions, we have joining us investment guru and author Ike Cannonwill. So Ike, with such an unpredictable market and so many variables and issues, do you have any tips or recommendations for organizations that are funding programs and initiatives?
Well, Sharon, everyone wants returns on their investments. And my best advice to see those returns is to invest in the future, in our children. They are the decision makers and the workforce of tomorrow. Now, supporting programs that implement effective strategies to improve the health and wellness of our next generation's leaders, especially in the lower income areas, is paramount. For instance, the after-school movement and Healthy Behaviors Initiative are the perfect platform to yield such returns and positively impact the future.
And now we have Senator Steinberg joining us. Now, Senator Steinberg, how do you feel about the importance of after-school programs?
You know, sometimes it almost gets to be a little bit of a cliche, this argument about, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. But it is never more true than when it comes to investing in after-school programs.
Now, we also have with us today Senator Torlakson from Sacramento. Now, Senator, why do you feel that investing in after-school is such a smart choice?
Every dollar we put in saves $3 in avoided costs in the criminal justice system, avoided costs in other factors. And if you add now what we're seeing is the investment value of learning about better eating habits and better physical activity, when we tackle the obesity diabetes crisis in this way, I think we're going to see an even greater dollar return on the investment in these after-school programs.
We have with us Dr. Robert Salas of Kaiser Permanente, who is also a former president of the American College of Sports Medicine. Now, Dr. Salas, what are some of the trends that you see that relate between children and obesity?
More and more we are seeing diabetes occur earlier, even in adolescence. And so the critical factor there is poor diet and physical inactivity. And that is the key to curbing this epidemic of diabetes. What tends to happen then when you develop diabetes at a very early age, the complications are seen at a younger age and are much more severe.
Now, David Saunders of the American Cancer Society is live via satellite. David, what are the American Cancer Society's findings in regards to obesity?
We find that obese children, in many cases, become obese adults, and obesity attributes to cancer in adult years. So we want to reduce obesity so we can reduce cancer.
Statistics show that this generation of children will be the first in human history to have a lower life expectancy than their parents.
That is shocking. Now let's hear from George Flores, Senior Program Officer of the California Endowment. Now, George, what are some of the recent statistics that you found that have to do with the childhood obesity epidemic?
In the past 20 years, the obesity rates have doubled for children and tripled for teens. This is a very serious problem here in California, especially with low-income children who have very little access to healthy food and healthy opportunities for physical activity.
Now, Steve Fowler from Fowler Hoffman has been working on some important initiatives advocating wellness for children. Now, Steve, what is it that you have seen about how obesity impacts the economy?
Well, we need to focus on the issues of obesity and physical activity in our children because we're looking at a national crisis. Not just a health crisis, but a financial crisis for our country. If we don't act now, the costs of doing something later will basically bankrupt state and local governments. So we got to act now and also provide a higher quality of life for our children.
And Senator Torlakson, how does this relate to after school?
This can be a key turning point in our movement to fight the dreadful effects of obesity and diabetes. You know, it's epidemic. We've looked at these figures. It's $28 billion cost to California, growing at about $1 billion a year. And with 1 out of every 3 children born this year expected to have diabetes, we have a huge challenge, and it can't just be met during the regular school day.
Dr. Salas, what evidence have you found to support this?
Unfortunately, a lot of kids, particularly in disadvantaged areas, don't have access to Little League and karate classes and other kinds of programs, and that makes these after-school programs even more important.
And now we'll hear from Kathy Lewis, Vice President of the Center for Collaborative Solutions.
After school is more than the sites we serve and the numbers of kids we serve, almost 1 million across this state. It's really about kids' lives. And if you're a funder or a policymaker, what would be really great is if you could go out to some of those after-school programs and see what they're doing in kids' lives. Kids that want to go to school because they want to go to after school. Kids that know they can go in with confidence because their homework is done. Kids that have learned about how to read food labels. So we're developing learning centers across this state, and those centers can help other after-school programs. If you're a policymaker, those centers are a place to go and see.
And Ike, do you have any last economic tips for the viewers?
It's urgent that funders and policymakers understand the severity of the childhood obesity problem and that they support the organizations, collaboratives, and institutions that are working hard to prevent and even solve this pandemic.
Today's children are in serious jeopardy, and they run a high risk of a shorter and less healthy lifespan than previous generations due to the growing obesity epidemic. But there is a viable solution, the after-school solution. These wellness programs are a necessary investment to change the health and the future of children as well as the future of the economy. After-school programs change lives. Thank you for joining Put Your Money Where Your Mouth Is. For CCS News, I'm Sharon Resources, asking you to share yours.